Gerard Baker, the editor of the Wall Street Journal, spoke about his philosophy in covering Donald Trump, and oh boy, is this sad.
Do you feel comfortable saying so-and-so lied? To be that, if somebody says just an outright falsehood, do you say the word lie? Is that important to start putting in reporting or not?
You know, it's a good... I'd be careful about using the word lie. Lie implies much more than just saying something that's false. It implies a deliberate intent to mislead. I think it's perfectly... When Donald Trump says thousands of people were on the rooftops of New Jersey on 9/11 celebrating, thousands of Muslims were there celebrating, I think it's right to investigate that claim, to report what we found, which is that nobody found any evidence of that whatsoever, and to say that. I think it's then up to the reader to make up their own mind, to say, this is what Donald Trump says, this is what a reliable, trustworthy news organization reports, and you know what? I don't think that's true. I think if you start ascribing a moral intent, as it were, to someone by saying that they've lied, I think you run the risk that you look like you're not being objective. And I think, and I do think also it applies, look, people, this is happening all the time now. Right. People are looking at what Donald Trump's saying and say this is false, it's a false claim. And I think people say, well, you know what, Hillary Clinton said a lot of things that were false. I don't recall the press being quite so concerned about saying that she lied.
Hillary Clinton is gone. Nobody held her more accountable than I did. Nobody was on the side of, you got to hold all these politicians accountable and get all the facts out there and correct their ass. And sure, she lied all the fucking time. So we corrected it all the fucking time. But you know what you're doing? You're deflecting. You're dodging. Because she's gone. The race is over. She's gone. So what are you talking about? Oh, but Hillary Clinton. What about Hillary Clinton? She's gone. Donald Trump is president-elect of the United States. He's going to be president in a few weeks. And you're going, but Hillary. But Hillary what? Are you going to hold him accountable or are you not going to hold him accountable? Okay. He said there, you run the risk of not being objective if you look at a lie and call it a lie. It's the exact opposite. What are you saying? There are some instances where there's no other explanation but a lie. He gave one of them right there. When you have a guy who repeatedly says, I saw Muslims celebrating on 9/11, and then there's no evidence of that whatsoever, and he keeps saying it. What am I supposed to think? He's having a paranoid schizophrenic breakdown at the time? Is that what happened? No, that's not what happened. He fucking made it up. All right, how about when he said, he didn't pretend to be his publicist for a bunch of years there early on in his career. Remember that? He's like, what are you talking about? They played a tape for him to his face on the Today Show. They said, hey man, look, we got this recording of you. It's him saying, I'm John Miller, and I just want to tell you, Trump is tremendous. All these women love him and want to date him. And he's got so many options right now, and he's speaking to these tabloid magazines trying to get his name out there in the press. They play it for him. It's obviously him. We know his voice. He's like, that's not me. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, and really, you're going back 15 years, 20 years in order to talk about this stuff? Very good. Let's talk about important issues. Okay. First of all, yes, everybody should be talking about important issues, but that's a dodge to your obvious lie. It was you on the tape. You're saying it's not you because you're a pathological liar. He said he didn't support the war in Iraq. We have the tape of you on Howard Stern tentatively supporting it. Obviously, you weren't like cheerleading rah-rah, but you were like, yeah, I guess I support it. Well, so admit it. Say, yeah, I supported it. I say I tepidly supported it. But you don't, wrong, I didn't support it. Wrong. There's video of you discussing Libya, saying we got to go in there, we got to do an intervention, we got to topple Gaddafi, we got to do it. He's killing his people, terrible, we got to topple him. And then you said on the debate stage in the primaries, I never discussed Libya. What are you talking about? I was never in favor of the Libya intervention. He's, in some instances, it's not just a falsehood. Now, when it is just a falsehood, say, oh, that's just false. Don't say it's a lie when it's not a lie. But in many instances, it is a lie. And what you're doing is you're refusing to call a spade a spade. So what's hilarious is he's like, well, you run the risk of not being objective if you call it a lie. No, what you're doing is not being objective right now. You're deflecting and obfuscating by going, but Hillary's gone. You're deflecting when you say that, and what you're doing is relativism and false equivalence. Because he's paints it as like you decide. Some say this about what Trump said. Some say that about what Trump said. Or Trump says this, and, other people say, no, that's not how it went down. It's not a 50-50 thing. Imagine presenting the Libya one like that. Like, well, look, Trump says he didn't support intervention in Libya, but some people say he did support it. Well, then you're not being objective. Ironically, as you bemoan lack of objectivity, because he did say he wants to intervene. The job of the media in that instance is to say, he said he wants to intervene. Here's the video. He is incorrect. He's not telling the truth. That's what you do. That's what you do. But no, Trump has broken the media. The media has been bad for way long before Trump. This is a problem that's deep-seated in the way our media functions. There's no doubt about that. But when now you have these idiots openly saying it, and he thinks he's nailing it, this guy. Like, oh yeah, I have a jolly good idea. Let's be pure relativists. Truth, what is truth? Some say this, others say that. Trump says that, others say this. So I'll present both sides and you decide. No, the job of the media is to educate people, give information and data, and truth is not 50-50. Truth is rarely 50-50. There's gray area many times and stuff, but truth is sometimes very one-sided. So when, Trump says I didn't support the Iraq war, that's not true. That's not true. So it's not 50-50. How dare you present it like it's 50-50? But now you know what they're going to do. Their strategy is deflect, but Hillary, but the Democrats, but this, but that. So deflect from the conversation at hand and do, at best, false equivalence and say, Trump says this, other people say that, I'm going to let you decide. Well, then, you wonder why this guy was able to rise to power. You wonder why Hillary was able to win the primary. Because this is the media ethos in the United States. You can never come out and make a value judgment and say, that's better than that, that's correct, that's wrong. So when you look at Bernie Sanders' platform, for example, and on almost every issue, he's right in the middle of mainstream America with what most people want. The media didn't tell you that. They didn't go out there and tell you, hey, look at Bernie's platform and look at the polling numbers on each issue. A majority of people want single-payer healthcare. A majority of people want to tax the rich more. A majority of people don't want to get involved in so many foreign conflicts. A majority of people want to raise the minimum wage. A majority of people like the idea of a political revolution. You go down the line. People agree with Bernie Sanders, but the media wasn't there saying, Bernie Sanders has objectively a more popular platform than Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. They didn't say that. Why? Oh, they would say, oh, you're biased if you say that. No, that is objective. That is objective. It's objective to tell the truth no matter where the fucking facts lead you. But they don't want to do that. They want to do that because bias, oh my God, Trump is going to scream that I'm being unfair to him. And look, it's a sick situation. If we had a media that was doing their job and being objective from day one, you would have never got a candidate Hillary Clinton. You would have never got a candidate Donald Trump. You would have gotten neither. We would have been looking at a general election race that was Bernie Sanders versus Rand Paul, most likely.